Hi, Erika.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I did
Wait.
it. All right. So I have with me here two of these wonderful ladies that I met at a business workshop earlier this year. And we're going to talk to you today about caffeine. And like for me, I'm in the hormone realm, so I kind of put a little take on it of like caffeine, is it secretly wrecking your hormones? But you guys might have a little bit different take on it. It might be wrecking your gut, possibly, which ultimately all leads back to hormones. So,
Yeah.
so I'm Erica. I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner and hormone health coach and yoga instructor. Um, and I'll pass it off to Dori. You want to
Hi.
introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm Dori Martin, and I also work with midlife women, and I help with adrenal burnout and stress. And yeah, definitely have some things to say about coffee. I mean, a lot of times I like to say it's all contextual, but then if you have burnout there, I know Heajung has a lot to say and some personal experiences about it as well. Uh, but yeah, I love women, this mindset, and with you, certified yoga. And we have a lot in common. We're getting to know each other, and so I'm really excited.
All right.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Heajung. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner. I work with a lot of women who developed autoimmune issues later in their life. And my focus is, regulating nervous system first, and then we kind of design personalized nutrition, lifestyle protocols, and, I help women to feel better and reclaim their life. So yeah, definitely I have a lot to say about caffeine because I was the one who kind of, um, drinking coffee on an empty stomach for decades and then, probably damaged my gut lining for, how long? I don't know. So yeah, we can certainly talk about caffeine.
Yes, definitely. I know. I definitely. I've never been like one to like. I wasn't a lover of just like the black coffee, just straight coffee. Uh, but I did love my sugary, like put everything in it, make it creamy, make it sugary, make it a little dessert in the morning before I had anything to eat. So I know that
Exactly, same
definitely
here. Hmm.
wrecked my adrenals,
Yeah.
and made maybe not feel great on it. So
Yeah, it's like a lot of times the entourage effect. It's not just the thing, but what comes with the thing. So that's a good point.
right, right. Here's a question for you guys: do you drink caffeine at all?
Uh, Ed,
How
I'll
about
let
you,
you.
Dory? Go ahead.
Okay. So yes, I do drink caffeine, and it really depends on where I am on my health journey. I know that when I'm in intense adrenal burnout and I'm exhausted, there's that temptation of drinking caffeine. And so I have a lot of things that I go to. We're all minerals, like mineral gals, right? Mineral mavens. We talk about hair tissue and mineral analysis, and when you drink caffeine, it depletes a lot of the minerals, the main minerals, and so we want to be careful about that. And then it raises your cortisol, or it tries to, but when you don't have any cortisol raised, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. And so that's when I'm mindful, and I like to find other things. But generally speaking, um, if I feel like I'm doing okay, I will like drink tea. I will drink coffee, but I found a lot of really good substitutes. Maybe we can share about that later. That I really enjoy just much. So I do drink it, but it's really contextual, and I don't make it a habit.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you?
Well, I stopped drinking caffeine, like a coffee, caffeinated coffee, over, I don't know, a couple of years, and I don't crave it anymore. I eat well, I manage my stress, so I think it really helped me to kind of, stabilize my energy level. So I don't really rely on coffee in the morning, but I used to. And in fact, I'll show you some funny mug. This is the mug. Can you see coffee before talking?
I love it.
That's
My
you.
mother-in-law, my mother-in-law found this mug somewhere, and then she got me. And actually, it got broke, it got cracked, so I cannot use it anymore as a mug. So I'm using it as my pencil place or whatever. But yes, I mean, leave off caffeine in the morning because I had a severe brain fog. I could not even say a word in the morning without coffee, caffeinated, something to stimulate my brain. But after I changed my diet and my lifestyle, at some point I realized that, hey, I don't need to make coffee, and I kind of analyzed it. Is it something that I enjoy, that just the ritual of making coffee in the morning, the aroma, and the habitual things that I rely on. And I told myself maybe it's something that I just like an autopilot thing. And I stopped doing it, and I don't really drink coffee, but sometimes, especially before, around luteal phase, when I feel more tired than any other days, sometimes I do decaf because it has a little bit of caffeine in it. So yeah, but I don't really rely on it anymore. How about you, Erica?
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't really one of those that like just drank just straight black coffee. It was always like, oh, and I always gauged it to like how tired I was. So on the way to work, if I was I'm really feeling like I need it today, then I would stop by Starbucks on my way into work, and then I would text everybody and be like, okay, who wants me to pick up whatever, to get us through the day.
Yeah.
And so I did that for several years, but it wasn't really consistent. It was probably like 2 or 3 times a week.
Hmm.
But then I found at some point in time, like probably 2020, when that, like, we all know what happened in 2020. I felt like I really started relying on it even more. Um, and I felt really, really tired, which I didn't realize at the time was the beginning of just adrenal burnout for me. Just super chronic stress. I felt like I needed something to get me through the day. And then I was also having like an afternoon slump.
Hmm.
So then I was like, I need caffeine at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And then, going through the nutritional therapy program and becoming a hormone health coach and learning more about adrenals and learning more about, blood sugar regulation and gut health. And then, the hair trace mineral analysis and doing all of that stuff. It's really brought me back to the reason why I started figuring out like, okay, hey, there's other things out there that I can use besides that. And I actually feel better if I eat, more nourishing foods and I get enough sleep. And, obviously that's not going to happen all the time because things happen in our life. But I think that I found other things to help me feel more energized. And really what it comes down to is like energy, right? Unless you just, some people really like the coffee. I think like you said, Heajung, is it's more of a ritual. It becomes
Hmm.
like, what's
Yeah.
that thing that we're just got to get up in the morning and we're gonna start the coffee pot, or we're gonna start the Keurig, or we're gonna go to Starbucks, and it becomes a
Yeah.
ritual. So I found other things to replace that ritual. So
What is that?
I personally use raw ceremonial cacao.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
For that.
yeah, so I love it. It's mineral rich, it's really packed. It's chocolate. So it's the pure form of chocolate. So I basically get like a nice little cup of chocolate in the morning. Uh, and it does have a little bit of caffeine in it, but it has other, properties in it that that are, help you feel blissful and joyful, and it has a lot of minerals in it. So that's what I use. Or if I don't do that, sometimes I'll just make, like, if I'm not feeling like going through the whole process, then I just do the mineral packets. So it's like I use Element or LMNT chocolate caramel flavor, which is,
Mhm.
again kind of like that, kind of gives you that creamy, frothy type of thing, and that's going to help me replace some of my minerals. Nuts.
Yeah, I miss those creamy texture, from latte.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely miss that. Yeah.
What do you substitute with, Heajung? I know that you have something that you use.
So I am switching to dandelion root tea.
Yeah.
It's good for liver as well, but in the beginning, I wasn't looking for some sort of like a bitterness, from coffee because I like bitter taste. Uh, so that's my usually, go-to tea. And sometimes what I do, I make tea out of turmeric and licorice. I forgot the name of a brand, but it's like a tea, and then they use a cacao powder in it, so it tastes and looks like coffee, but it it's not coffee. But that's sometimes I do that too. And yeah, usually herb tea, that's what I do. And I realized that actually chamomile is not anything like coffee. Actually, it really soothes down your nervous system, but it's really good for histamine breakdown as well.
Oh,
So I use chamomile a lot too. Yeah.
that's good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. But Erica, I have a question about the celebrate tea that you're drinking. Is that just basically cacao powder you mix with water? Is that what you do, or do you have a recipe for that?
Yeah, so I get a block of raw ceremonial cacao. It comes from, I think this one comes from Guatemala, but it's not. It's like it's the chocolate before they take all of the fat and all of that stuff in it, so it still has all of the healthy fats. And I shave that, or take a really sharp knife and cut it into little like little chocolate shavings. And then I just
Hmm.
boil some water, and, like out of a teapot. And I put it, like, you can use different amounts, but I personally use like a tablespoon. And then I take and just mix with my little frother. So I put a little bit of hot water in there, froth it up, and then add more water. So
Yeah.
technically, that's not the way that you're supposed to do it, from like directly from the cacao people, but so don't tell anybody. But I'm using it on a daily basis, and more for health benefits than I am for like the ceremonial part of it. But there is a whole ceremonial thing that you can do with it as well.
Because sometimes I just, mix cacao powder, mix with the hot water, and I just drink it like that. And it's a really good source of the magnesium and,
Yeah.
some like a rich flavor close to coffee. So sometimes I drink that too. So I was wondering if this is something similar or same,
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that you have to really look for it. I like this, and this could be like another discussion at another point if it gets too lengthy. But I really like the ceremonial cacao, pure and in the block, because it's before they don't. It's not processed at all. It's
Mm.
literally the only processing is just making it into the block and then packaging it up and shipping it. Whereas, like, when it gets to, you have to be careful where it's sourced from, because when it gets to the United States, then they take all of the fat out of it, and the fat is really one of the most beneficial parts of the cacao. So it can
Uh,
be, that's really good. So I think a lot of the stuff that you find in the store, like where you get cacao powder, it's still not
uh-huh.
true, like the really good. It's still beneficial. Don't get me wrong. there's still some really
Like,
good
pretty
benefits to it.
different.
So, I mean,
Mhm.
if you're doing that as your coffee replacement, then it's still way better. I'm a little bit, you know how like people are like coffee snobs? I'm a little bit of a cacao snob.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So,
Wrong with that. Yeah, I know. It's I actually combined the dandelion and the cacao.
mm,
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
idea,
yeah,
actually.
that
Yeah.
is a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
yeah. And to what you were saying about curcumin, Heajung, I also like the golden milk tea, and so that's really good, and it has all those benefits of curcumin. And so I think it's
Mhm.
the thing fun to think of different ways to enjoy a drink in the morning. But to what you were saying, Erica, a lot of times it's paradoxical. The more you need it, the less you should have it, I feel like, because if you're relying on it, but if you can take it or leave it, it seems like it's okay because you know you're not going to indulge in it and overuse it or like become dependent on it. So I kind of feel like that's a good gauge when I talk to people. Like, do you have to have it, or otherwise, if it's not a thing, it's not a thing.
Yeah,
But if you like you need it to get through your day, then it's a thing. And so it's kind of the unfair paradox of the whole
yeah.
thing.
I think too, and you guys, can chime in here too. But going back to the reasons why we think we need it, and again, there's a difference between really just truly enjoying the taste of it. And then, if that's the case and that's how you are, you really enjoy it. Like, I know that I've worked with clients where they're like, you are not taking away my coffee. And so, okay, that's great. Let's try to figure out ways to like make it more beneficial to you so that you're not destroying your gut and you're not depleting your
Mhm.
minerals, and so that you're not drinking it when you first like wake up, like that's not the first thing that you're doing. So
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
getting a different routine, and then you can have your coffee, like eat your breakfast and then have your coffee, and maybe not have it mixed with a bunch of sugar, and if you're lactose intolerant, not having dairy in it. Some fine, working with the clients, working with people to help, depending on what their issue is. If they're having gut issues, if they're having skin issues, if they're having adrenal problems, then let's work with it
yeah,
instead of just being like, okay, you can't have that.
yeah. It's for blood sugar issues. Some people have it spiked. So if you do a CGM, some people it doesn't. And then there's that genetic component where they can tell if you're quickly metabolizing or not. So the toxic level is different. So everything, that's the thing that's kind of interesting about what we do. Everything's a bit nuanced and
Yeah.
individualized. Um, but it's always fun to hear about like specific experiences and different things that you could do. I think part of the fun is experimenting with other options with something
Yeah.
available.
I think it's good
Yeah.
too for people to really like get that, like kind of get excited about experimenting with different things. So for me, it was like, okay, this is cool. Like, what can I use today? Or what's gonna give me the same effect, or what's gonna give me the most energy. Um, but yeah, sorry, I feel like I'm dominating it. You
No,
mentioned
No, we're
the
good.
gene. There's a gene, and I looked it up yesterday, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like if you've done genetic testing, like with 23andMe or some other company like that, you can get that information, and it's like CYA.
P.
Yes. CYAP2 or something like that. And if you're positive for that gene, then you're more sensitive to caffeine. So you're going to be more likely to have gut issues and adrenal issues, and it's just not going to be great for your body. So that's also really good information to have.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
done genetic testing and I found out that my body can moderately degrade caffeine. So I feel a little better, but still I try not to really rely on caffeine because I heard one time a doctor, sorry to interrupt, Dori, but I just wanted to let it out. Otherwise, I'll forget. It was an interesting fact that he's a scientist and his job is looking at fruit flies' brain. So basically, what he has to do is dissect fruit flies' brain every single day to kind of see whatever he's doing, and as his job responsibility, he should not take any caffeine intake. So just a little bit of caffeine, if he drinks or a little bit of caffeine in his diet, he can see from his, that his hand is just a minimal like tremor, and then he cannot do his job. He cannot dissect fruit flies' brain. So like caffeine can definitely stimulate the whole system. And speaking of coffee, nowadays, I think if you want to, like, I know there are people, some of my clients, they are very have a strong opinion about not quitting coffee, which I understand. And it's very hard to like cold turkey and quit just in a day, coffee especially. But if you're gonna keep drinking, I strongly suggest you to kind of invest quality of coffee, like mold toxin free coffee, because coffee can have a mold issue. The coffee beans you're drinking, and it can really play big havoc in your health, gut health and everything, your brain and everything. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's a really good point. And I think that it's interesting because most people don't know, like how are you going to know? So, do we have any like sources that we recommend maybe for um,
I think
mold-free,
yeah,
like
yeah, mold-free coffee brand I tried was called the Purity, I think Purity, Purity. I tried the company and I liked their coffee bean. So it was yeah, decaf actually. Decaf coffee can have a lot of chemicals. Unfortunately, you think the decaf is, helping you not having too much caffeine in your body, but really look for sources of, your decaf coffee beans, where they're coming from, are they using like a Swiss water process? Yeah, so that you can, minimize your chemical intake when you're drinking decaf. So it's all about where your food coming from, how they treat, those coffee beans and things like that. So I recommend Purity brand. I hope I
That's the one.
say
Yeah,
that
the
right.
white.
Yeah, yeah, Purity. Yes. And they
That's
have all sorts of coffee, like, caffeinated one, half caffeinated decaf, and then decaf. So you can choose a lot of, and there are so many other brands I haven't tried, but yeah, mold, toxin-free coffee. Yeah, something I really recommend.
yeah,
broaden what you were saying about source and what Erika was saying. It's everything, right? If you're going to drink
Exactly.
tea, that source is like not bleached tea bags and where it's sourced properly. The storage can cause mold. So overall, the source really matters, and making sure that you trust that and do a bit of research. So it's interesting. It's a complicated web, but it's fun to have this conversation and kind of think about these things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think maybe I don't. Do you guys have any resources or links on maybe your website that people can go to get these sources? Just a thought. I don't have it on my website, but I was like, oh, that might be a good idea to have, for our people that are listening. Um,
I could
maybe getting
share,
that meeting,
um,
maybe getting that together.
yeah, I could share a link to the coffee unless you have it, Heajung, one of us, and so we could link it so that you could put it in under the comments. And then I would actually personally love to find out more about the cacao. I think that you've mentioned before it's sourced pretty specifically. So I don't know if it's hard to get to or if it's like you have a friend who actually brings it over from somewhere or how you're able to find out more information about it.
Yeah, yeah. She actually gets it from she has it shipped. She buys large quantities of it and has it shipped directly from Guatemala, from the farm. that it comes from. So that one, and she just gets it in like the blocks. But there are a couple of, so I have a couple of links that you can, different companies that you can
Oh,
go
great.
to. Cacao. So that one's cacao. It's literally called Cacao Source. And I think you just have to buy big bulks of it, but I can probably get some and like ship it to people. The other one is Soul Lift Cacao. That one's one that you can just buy individual, and you can actually buy samples from them as well. So yeah, I can definitely get that information together, and maybe we can create a document that we can like
To share.
to share. Yeah.
Because there's another one, it's called Figgy Brew, and they literally take figs and they make it
Oh.
taste like. And one of the things I like about it is, we know figs are really good for a lot of reasons, like detoxification, but also it's sourced really carefully by a family, so it's a small business, and I like to support those. But yeah, you can tell it's coffee, but it has, like what you were saying, Heijung, that strong flavor that people might be looking. It's got a bit of that figgy, of course, flavor, but it's got this deep, rich kind of vibe too. That's kind of cool. And then you can brew it the same way you do coffee, actually more like a pour over or something like that. But there's a bit of a routine, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
And then there's one I haven't tried, but a lot of people recommend is Kamana tea. Coffee. So it's supposed to taste like coffee, supposedly. So the jury is out on that one, but that's on my list.
On the list to try.
Is it like a sweet, like a fig? Because usually figs are sweet fruits, right?
Yeah. There's a slightly sweet flavor. So you could put the usual stuff that you put in coffee, or you can drink it straight, but it's got like a deep, rich, and you know how coffee, some of it, they speak about it like it's wine, like there's this like caramel flavor or hinted notes of fruit. It does have a deep fig flavor, but it also has a bit of that bitterness and it looks like coffee because it's that dark color. So it's enough to like get your brain and your mind to kind of buy into, okay, this is a good substitute. Any connoisseurs out there, there's no promise that your brain is gonna know it's not coffee, but it's a nice substitute to it, I find.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Good information. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So
yes,
maybe
definitely.
we can put together a resource and put links or something and share it with people that might want to learn more.
Yeah, that would be great. I was thinking too, while we were talking about, I know we need to wrap this up, but mushroom coffee, like it's actually not coffee, but it's mushrooms. And I was trying to think of the name of the brand, but that was what I did when I was coming off of coffee, is using the mushroom, mud water.
Yeah.
Mud water is what it was called.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I haven't tried it yet, but did you like it?
It was good. And I also have an autoimmune disease, so the mushroom mixture that's in there is really good for autoimmune as well. So mushrooms have some great properties for autoimmunity. Well, just in general, they're just great for your health. So
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks for inviting us on. This is so much fun. I could talk for another few hours,
I
but
know. I literally like I get together with people that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you guys. We could talk about this stuff forever. Where's the puppy? Do you have the puppy with you?
here, where are you? I just
hello.
Oh.
that's yeah. He pushed me down when he saw me. I was like, but he's like a Boston, so his eyes are big. But they went rounder, and then I went over and he just pushed me down. I was like, I'm on my butt on the ground.
Oh,
That's how love shows up sometimes.
Oh,
But I'm outside my house because he hasn't seen the house yet, and my mom's a little bit skittish, and so that's why I'm sitting in the car in case anybody was wondering. Sure.
this is such a joy.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
Seeing you.
Right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.